Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll. Not anymore. This is No Face Bigfoot, and welcome to my pickups video for Sunday, April 7th, 2019. First off, I'm going to talk about my Switch Player magazine. It just came in the mail several days ago, all the way from the United Kingdom. I paid $9 an issue for this, and on the cover, it talks about 7 different indies that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch. And this issue of the magazine here, lots of bad reviews. Geez, Switch, we're supposed to be coming out with good games. And first off, My Riding Stable. Okay, not sure if I would buy that game anyway. But one, I was pretty shocked. And I believe it only got 1 star out of it. And it's definitely not Wargroove, because that's a pretty good game. Ark Survival Evolved. 1 star! What's going on here? This is actually a pretty decent game for PlayStation. And then there was another game got a half a star. Panda Hero. Wow. Anyway, they talked about the 7 different indie games coming out. Indisposable. And at the top's one of my favorite, even though I've never played it. Super Meat Boy. And then you got My Friend Pedro. And of course, they talk about Shovel Knight on here. Okay, and then the one above it, it's kind of like Hotline Miami. I believe it was a follow-up to it. Shakedown Hawaii. And then we got a follow-up to the Hollow Knight, which they decided to make into a game. And on the back of this, they have a cartoon of, what's his name? Phil or May or something like that. Former Nintendo president. He stepped down. I think he did pizzas before he stepped up for Nintendo. Reggie Fils-Aimé. How dumb can I be? Okay. Also got my Old School Gamer magazine on Patreon. I believe it's $5 or $6 per issue. Look who's on the front page. Mr. Cheater himself. Although he has been live streaming his Donkey Kong attempts lately, so seems like since he got caught in the act, maybe he's been cleaning himself up, even though he's denied, everything so far. This magazine this time talks about simulators, mainly racing simulators, and also it talks about Berserk. It does an interview with Alan McNeil's brother. Now he did work for Stern, and he created Berserk, and I believe that's the only game he ever created for them. The follow-up was Frenzy, which is, both games lived up to their billing. And on the cover, of course, one of my favorite vector games of all time, Star Wars. And then you have Battlezone at the bottom. And, what was it, Star Wars, Death Star, or whatever. They had it at the Ten-Pin Coliseum in Richmond, right there on Belt Boulevard. And, man, they had that game for a couple years. Love playing it. It's definitely worth the time playing it. You could choose between easy, medium, and hard. If you chose hard, you pretty much were going to die quick. So, I was pretty good at that game. And, of course, the cover of the magazine is also this month's poster. So, you can't beat, for a vector game, you can't beat that. In fact, it's probably my favorite vector game of all time. Now, I want to do a review on this later in the week and talk more in depth on it. But this came in Thursday. I was going to do a video earlier, but I've just been pretty busy. And this is the official cookbook for Elder Scrolls. It has pretty much everything in it. It has maps and descriptions of the cuisine, of every major province, or actually of all provinces in Tamriel. And they start out by just the basics of this. Okay, and they give you a guide. They talk about spices, seasons, and condiments. So they start here. And they also have things such as sweet rolls, probably the most popular one. You also have the Water of Life, a bunch of meads in here. Of course, a mead is alcohol. Also, oh, Stormcloak seasoning. Now, this is something I would love. Never tried it. And this is actually a real thing in real life. Double baked potatoes. Of course, if you're interested in that, you're like me. Anyway, here's what you can give your children. Honey Nut Treats. And then one of my favorites, of course I have to look for it here, is skooma. It's so sweet, so addicting, that is banned in Tamriel, I believe. Okay, here we go. Skooma! And they have pictures of every recipe here. Look at that. Skooma. Alright. Anyway, what have I been playing lately? I played Far Cry 5, pretty much completed it. Not very satisfied with the game. The open world play is fun, but the missions are dumb. It's one of the worst storylines I've seen in Far Cry. And I've played 2, 3, and 4. And then I played Primal, which was actually a pretty good game. But it's just the storylines in there. It's just... The game has always had hallucinogenic drugs in there. And that's what's made the game. Just the hallucinogens, the villains. Even though Pagan Min wasn't used as good as he should have, he still was very interesting. Of course, the lead character from, or the main antagonist, not pro, antagonist from Far Cry 3. Can't remember his name, but he was pretty villainous. Pretty creepy if you ask me. Anyway, you know, the Seed family, there's so many times that they would just stop you, whatever you were doing. You couldn't escape, and then you had to do these escape missions. And, you know, 1 or 2 are fine for each major boss. But what was it? It wasn't James, it was the other one. I think it was like 7 or 8 escape sequences. Boring. Repetitiveness. I was doing the same escape mission every time. Come on, man. You can do better than that, Ubisoft. Right now, I'm playing, oh, man. My brain's not working right there. New Dawn, or whatever it's called. Played about 12 hours of it. Gameplay is very repetitive. The villains suck. I really don't care about the twins. But the gameplay's there. So I'm enjoying it. You get a pet boar, which is not as good as Cheeseburger, but still fun to have. And also, you get another dog here. Not as good as Boomer, but yeah, you know, who cares? I'm having fun with it. And again, the storyline's pretty stupid, but you know, Far Cry is not always known for its stories, but usually known for its antagonists. Anyway, I just finished another game called Albedo, whatever it's called. It was made by one person. That game sucked. I don't care if it was made by one person. The controls were terrible. It actually, if the game was controllable and the graphics were a little bit better, it would actually be a pretty good game. It's not really point and click. It's kind of point and click, even though you don't. It has point and click elements. But the only thing I really didn't like about it, the worst sequence was when you had fidgety controls, and it's not like you're playing, you know, Far Cry or any other games with great controls. You know, you have to shoot these little odd aliens and with a shotgun, and it's slow, you're in a confined space where you can barely move around, and it takes at least 3 or 4 tries to get through it. Doesn't matter how good you are, because the controls are very floaty. Of course, most people would never play that game, and I was just playing it for a platinum trophy, but I ended up beating it. And actually, you know, like I said, it could have been a very good game, but you know, even one person does take a couple years to make a game, and if you've ever seen Fez, you know how much of a toll it takes on someone. Anyway, I got my batteries. I'm going to be playing this. So, Mr. Quentin, if you're watching this, yeah, remember I bought one a little while back. I'm going to be playing that pretty soon. It's a very good Tetris clone. It's more like the original one on Nintendo, not the modern ones where you can just keep turning the pieces when you keep falling down. Anyway, I'm having a good night. I got to get to bed here in about an hour because I got to get back to school in the morning, get to work. Then I got parent-teacher conference for 3 hours, so I won't be back home until 8:15. Then UVA's in a national championship game, who God knows, of all the bad luck they've had over the years, it all came back in good luck in the last 2 games. And I'll be the first one to say that was a double dribble. But you know how what comes around goes around, and when you get bad luck over the years, sometimes good luck comes back around. So I feel bad for Auburn, but Charles Barkley, that was comical. And when you had a chance to beat Richmond, you couldn't do it. You had Chuck Person, and you lost to Richmond back in the early 80s. Oh man, that was the game to live for. Anyway, Charles Barkley is still one of my favorite players, so I'm just joking about him. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hit the thumbs up if you like it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And hopefully I can get this up in at least 720 and not this 480 that this YouTube has been doing to me lately. Yes, and this film's in 1080, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.